Well, I'm here with my friend Eric DeSando, who is somewhat a self-taught expert on cosmetic procedures. And for today, we'd like to talk something about what guys can do to get rid of that gut. So maybe, friends, we all know some guys who have this big beard gut or whatever. And it's funny with guys' stomachs have different shapes to them. Not just because of fat, but some guys really just because of the shape of their abdominal wall. And it's true of women, but it's much more true of men. So sometimes, even today, I was having lunch with a couple of guys, and these guys were beefy. I mean, they were kind of out to there. And we were talking about maybe doing liposuction or something on one of them. And my friend reminded me that just because guys are out there like that, it doesn't mean necessarily that it's fat that's accessible underneath their skin. So a lot of people, you have to be able to feel that roll of fat underneath your skin to be able to suction. Some guys' stomach muscles are so weak that they're just, convex out there or whatever, and they are so rounded that if you feel for free fat, there ain't that much.
So yeah, in other words, like a barrel, almost like a barrel thing. Is that what you're saying?
A lot of the guys who, you've probably seen that. And if you try and grab fat, particularly in the upper part, you won't grab anything.
I saw that in a woman today. A woman at the Sprint store who wasn't fat. You're right, but she was extremely big here, like to where it was like this. Yeah. But it wasn't a fatty thing. It was just she looked like a German mud wrestler. One of those like stout like ladies.
But guys have good skin tone. So a woman who's had kids and they have stretch marks and their skin is kind of loose and whatever, no matter, there's always going to be some limit to how much that will go up. But in guys with liposuctions, the ones who are good candidates, their skin will retract dramatically.
Yeah, the funny thing is, of course, is that Dr. B did liposuction on me. And what was it, 3 years ago? Maybe?
Yeah.
I started getting heavy. I was approaching 40, and I just couldn't seem to get the weight off. And so I came in and saw him, and he did me.
Liposuction.
First of all, it's great, but I've never been so black and blue in my life, and I could not believe where I was black and blue, which was...
Yes, the black and blue does drift down to the dependent areas, and it does tend to accumulate in the most dependent area of the stomach. The black and blue, which is what people think, it was such a traumatic experience. It's painless. It just goes away. It doesn't mean anything. But that's what people look at in pictures and they go, oh my God, this was such a big operation.
Not only was it painless, but I actually had sex one time with it purple.
With it purple?
In the dark.
In the dark.
Because I wasn't going to turn the light on with that situation. And so it was that painless, actually.
And you probably also get some happy swelling in that area. That liposuction is generally really about contour, which is where that really worked. But people get inspired, giving me a bunch of money and going through this procedure really inspires people to stick with their diet and stay on their exercise. And psychologically, a lot of people need that. They need that traumatic event. They need, it's been shown in no matter what kind of enterprise you're talking about, that people need a dramatic event to change their behavior. And sometimes that traumatic event, making that leap to go and have a procedure like liposuction, is that little catalyst that makes them go, I don't want to undo this. I don't want to lose this benefit. I'm looking good. I'm on the road, and I don't want to quit now. And so they'll stick with their diet and their exercise, and we totally encourage that. And however you get to that shape that you're shooting for, we're happy for you.
I also noticed that nothing's come back in terms of the weight.
Yeah, that's really important too, because compared to some of like the non-surgical procedures where we have the Vela Smooth and some of these other procedures for weight reduction, those procedures you won't kill fat cells. Often those procedures will drain the fat cells and the fat will leave, but almost all of these lasers and external procedures, the fat cell is intact, and so eventually it can refill with the fat. These kinds of procedures, again, they're like $3,000-$4,000, but if you compare it to what people are spending on dieting and exercising and other weight reduction programs and weight pills and whatever. And the other thing to address, of course, is the safety of liposuction, because as always, you hear about those rare complications and problems. You don't hear about the other million liposuctions that are performed in this country every year. You can sit here and march in the thousands and thousands of satisfied and happy people with liposuction, and you'll hear about those one or two people who had problems, and those were usually people who were generally unhealthy and having large sessions of liposuction, and their problems were not particularly even related to the liposuction itself. It was just from having some kind of surgical procedure.
I thought it was a great procedure, and it definitely worked for me. So.
Yeah, six-pack abs, guys shouldn't miss out on that.
And I do have abs now, so it's true. I got like 3. I'm a 3-pack right now, but I got a few, you know. And I definitely, without that, I wouldn't have been able to do it.
And girls notice, for sure.
There's no question.
So, welcome to Buying Beauty TV and Six-Pack Abs.